Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Small Business Marketing Podcast. Today, we have an amazing guest who's going to help us figure out AI for our business. So, today's episode is really focused on how to use AI in your small business. So, Tammy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having
To
me.
talk about AI. And Tammy is founder of FounderShare, which is really she's creating a space where women business owners can learn to use AI in their business to create efficiencies and really learn how to how would you describe it? Like tell me in your business, like I know you help women business owners use AI in their business. And why is that?
AI is such a helpful tool, and it can really help us reclaim our time and energy. And small business owners have such a wide spectrum of responsibilities on their plate, and we are not good at all of them. And what we can do is have AI as a partner in a lot of these necessities of small business owning, where the things that we like the least, we can get a partner on to help us finish faster and easier.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about your journey to get here, right? Tell our viewers, right, who you are and what inspired you to help business owners with AI.
I grew up in an entrepreneurial household. My dad and mom co owned a family business. So I've been living the entrepreneurial dream my whole life. It's part of my blood. And when I went to college, I fell in love with technology and I majored in computer science. And when I looked around, I was one of the very few women in the room most of the time. And so I'm used to that experience. And fast forward, I've had a few significant moments in my life where I've been able to peel back the curtain on technology to help a business owner. And I love that moment of awareness and teaching where I see the light bulb go off in them and then they can go on their merry way and be excellently productive um, and continue on their journey. And I love that moment of enlightenment. And particularly with the rise of AI, I've seen so many women not adopt it. And this is a common experience with technology over time. And I want to just break down that barrier. It is such a helpful tool and it's so much less techy. I know AI sounds artificial intelligence. It can be intimidating and there are so many articles about it that can make it feel overwhelming. And so I'm just here to help bridge that gap and teach as many people as I can to get going on that journey.
So my next question is like AI has been around, right? I think we have been using it unknowingly without thinking about it. Like Google is driven by AI. And I think most of the business owners are using Canva, which is very driven by AI.
Mm-hmm.
Most of our daily things in technology space we use is driven by AI. We know that Amazon shopping is driven by AI, right? But I think AI in our use, like actual deliberate use, is kind of a new phenomenon since ChatGPT launched.
Yes.
So help me understand, like, why should we even embrace AI? Like, what is the reason you think is an important part of our life now or business?
Well, whether or not you know it, you are embracing it. So, like you said, Google is a great example. If you start to type in something in a search engine, if it finishes your words, that's AI. If you go to Netflix and they have a recommendation for you, that's AI. If you go to Zillow and you see predicted home prices, that's AI. It's really in every facet all around us. And the difference is it for the past few decades, yes, it's been around for decades. Um, Large corporations have been the ones with this power, the secret power. And with ChatGPT, which is it's essentially like a little window where you can type in English language or your home language, native language, and it translates that to computer language. The computer works some magic and comes back with your native language in response. Um, That is where the magic really is. And the ability for everyone to have that in their pocket is incredible. It reduces so many barriers to entry for so many people. So, why should you investigate and test and kick the wheels on something like a chat GPT? And it's because it will fundamentally change your life and it can save you so much energy in the process.
I totally agree with you. I think for me, I am a big use of, ChatGPT, and I think it's a great tool for market research. And it has created like the gap is so much like less now in terms of what I need to do and refining something than spending hours figuring it out. And you can do so much more, but just like anything, it's just a tool.
Mhm.
So my next question would be the things which I know from business owner, like most business owners, are very overwhelmed with marketing. And I have a marketing agency and I use AI. So if I were to ask you what's the best way to use AI in marketing, what would you recommend?
I would recommend for a small business owner to open up ChatGPT and whatever you're working on at the moment. Like marketing is a gigantic world. How do we smush that down into something more reasonable? So let's take a blog. Let's say you are going to write a blog. Is that a fair enough example to
Yeah.
start? Okay, so I'm writing a blog. I can work with ChatGPT in many different ways in order to finish this blog. One, if I'm having trouble getting some ideas just to get started, what do I want to focus on this week? You can have a brief conversation with this tool and it will help you come up with ideas of things you might want to focus on. If you have something already written, but you don't know how to title it, you can upload it and say, give me 5 examples of different titles for this. If you have an outline, but you're really struggling with parts of it, you can upload the outline and say, help me fill this in. If you have something already written and you want to make it better, but you don't want to lose your piece of it, like your identity in it, AI can help. If you have a blog article and you're well on your way and you're already working with SEO in a way, you can help incorporate SEO into it. But I want to say something that I think is really important. AI helps give us superpowers. So if you are in marketing, it's awesome because you have this really powerful tool to help you be even better at marketing. For a lot of small business owners, they don't do anything in marketing and they don't have access to a marketing agency. So, in that capacity, a small business owner can fill in some of their gaps on their way to being big enough or needing a marketing agency. I don't think it replaces marketing agencies. And that's really important. We're not talking really about replacing a lot of these roles. Take something like SEO, for example. SEO stands for search engine optimization, and it's something that AI is really good at. They're computers talking to computers, helping computers figure out how the algorithms are all working. It's a very powerful thing. But if you take something like SEO, people have their entire careers based on just SEO. So if I'm a small business owner and I don't know anything about the topic, AI can help me fill in like a sentence or two, but it cannot fill the gap of an expert. So it might bridge the gap and get me a little bit further than where I am on my own, but it cannot replace the expert who is using this to have superpowers. And I think that's an important distinction.
Yeah, so the experience counts, right? I mean, this
Yes.
AI cannot truly understand who you are, what your business is,
No.
and the human way of doing it. I get it. But I think most of the small business owners, right? The whole idea of this podcast is when you're starting out and you have
Mm-hmm.
no budget, not
Yep.
even a shoestring budget, right? There's no budget for marketing. I want people to know that you don't need it. You can get to a place on your own with so many tools and resources you have right now. So for me, I think when I think of ChatGPT for marketing, right? Understanding your offers, right? Even understanding, hey, I have what these three offer ideas in my brain. which one I should be offering, which one is be right for me, and who are my audience, right? I want to offer to women, like, can you help me define my audience, right? What words are they using so I can create content around them? So that, there's the power of that. But AI is as good as the input you give, and the output is based on the input. Would you say
Yes,
that?
absolutely. In the
So
tech world, it's garbage in, garbage out. So whatever you
garbage
put
in and
in,
garbage out.
yes.
So you have done marketing strategy with me, right?
Mhm.
So what I want to dig into it, like, yeah, you were able to work with me, but I think that is very much doable on your own if you have a template, right? So I will put that on our link here, like a marketing strategy, because one of the things in business I see is a lot of confusion on who I am, what my offer, like your multiple offers, multiple things going on, and you're selling to everyone and you don't really sure like who is your audience. And kind of, we are trying like how to reach out to them in their words, right?
Yes.
A lot of time we think product features are the values. So I think AI can help with all that refinement if you put time and energy in it. So if I'm going to put the link to the marketing strategy now. I want you to help our audience understand, like, if they have this template, how can they use AI to fill all the details so they can go out and really kill at marketing?
So with a template, you can do this many different ways. If you have been using ChatGPT a lot, um, it remembers who you are. So if you have used it a lot, one cool thing that you can do is you can take the template, upload the entire thing into ChatGPT, and say something like, type in the prompt, based on our previous conversations and what you know about me, help me populate this template. You can follow up with questions like, show me where the gaps are. Um, so that's one thing. If you've been using ChatGPT a lot, if you haven't, you can still take the template and upload it, and you can say, I'm working on my business. I want to work through this template. Help me, guide me through answering these questions, and make sure that the responses are clear, um, to my target audience as we populate it. So that those are two different ways that you might be able to use just a template.
That's perfect because typically this template can take up to 3 months when we're working together, right? But I think with Chat GPT, if you put in like 7, 8 hours of work, right? Like, I know it sounds long, but it really, clarity is king in business. And people say
Yes.
content is king. I said, you can't create content if you don't have clarity about your audience, about your offers, about what's working and not. And it's easy to experiment more, come up
Yes.
with plans and ideas and throw it out there and see what's working for you. So if you're right with the right prompts, and either you can do section by section or the whole thing and work through it, and really at least you have a basic framework in place, correct?
Yes.
So one of the things I've heard, right? So this is marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just talked about how to integrate ChatGPT in your marketing. Once you have the strategy, can you tell our audience on how to create content, right? Like, okay, now you know who you're targeting, right? And maybe what platforms you should be. Even ChatGPT will answer that your audience is on these platforms. So let's
Yep.
say their audience is on TikTok and they need to create content calendar for that. Like what they should do for that.
Okay. So you can work with ChatGPT to come up with a specific persona. So you are connecting with a very specific person in, uh, like, where they are in life. And also, so ChatGPT knows it and carries that through the conversation. So you can work first on a persona, and then you can continue the conversation to talk about, okay, what are the major pain points of this persona, and how can my business, solve these pain points? And then you can work it a whole bunch of different ways. From there, you can, use those pain points and say, I'm working on a TikTok campaign of 15 different TikTok videos. Help me generate, either you want to create a storyline, so you're connecting things across the 15, or maybe it's just a whole bunch of different ideas. It depends what you're wanting to do, but you can generate, ideas, you can generate scripts, you can get ideas of what to insert in with the TikToks. Like, is there music that might go along with it, or different things? And so that's a handful of ways you can use, um, ChatGPT for that. Also, if you have existing content and maybe it's on a different platform, you can input that into ChatGPT and say, I have all of these LinkedIn articles, or I have all of these Facebook posts or Instagram, whatever's. You can say, help me transform these into TikTok relatable material. I don't know how you would, the beautiful thing about ChatGPT is it is built to understand how we talk and communicate. So you can make mistakes, you can have typos. It doesn't care. It's not passing judgment. You can do it completely wrong and it's irrelevant because then you can just do it again and try again. And it has infinite patience because it was created to help us. And I think keeping all of those things in mind is really important because it can be scary. It can be nerve wracking, or you're just not sure how to do it. And that can be frustrating, but just try it. Try typing in how you would speak. Don't worry about exactly the way I'm saying it or the way to do it. Just type in your thoughts. Way too many thoughts at a time is fine. And just start the conversation and you'll learn how to refine it as you go.
That is a beautiful thing because I feel like there's so many people who are selling these pre-made templates, right?
Mm.
You can do this, and then I've bought enough of them to
Oh,
know
yes.
that at the end of the day, you have to still experiment. What you're saying is go and experiment.
Mhm.
Let ChatGPT learn about you, right? That's the best thing to do. So spend time on it. Commit to spending an hour just figuring it out. Hey, I'm working on this topic, give me 5 different posts for that. Just kind of lot more experiment. Hey, I'm marketing, I have this offer, help me define my customer. Who is right? Who this offer, right? You can just, there's no stupid question basically. You can go and do anything you want and then figure this out for you, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So like you say, so it's not a coach, it's not passing ever judgment, it doesn't ever care, right? You're right or wrong. It just wants to support you. I love that because I've done this, with Gemini and in Chat GPT. I feel like Gemini is very judgmental. Like, oh, people don't know. I'm like, you know what? I just wanna work through my things. Like, you don't need to tell me what I'm wrong or right and all that. So even with the AI, do you want to speak a little bit about that? I think how even two different AIs, they're doing the exact same thing, but how Chat GPT popularity wise have grown so big compared to Gemini, which is on Google.
Yes. So there are three main platforms that small business owners want to consider. One is ChatGPT, which I'm sure many people have heard of, and that the company that created that is called OpenAI. There's something called Claude, and that is owned by a company called Anthropic. And Anthropic was started by people who left OpenAI. So that's an important piece of history for those two platforms. And then there's Gemini, and the owner of that is Google. And they all behave differently. They all essentially do the same thing. You go to either any of these websites and you have a chat window, you type into it questions, and you have a conversation going back and forth. They all have different skill sets and limits and capabilities. And the only way you'll find which one works best for you is by trying them all. But if that's overwhelming, just try one. just,
Hmm.
you know, um, I have found that in my work, Gemini is lazy. A lot of times when I ask it to do something, it will respond with things like, I'm just an AI, I can't do that. When I know it's perfectly capable for them to do what I'm asking. You can create a table with these 5 rows. That's very easy. This is not a complex task, but it won't do it. It's lazy. And one thing that's good about Gemini is it's interesting that you've had an experience where it's judgmental. I have had the experience where it's incredibly optimistic, overly optimistic. So if I type anything in, the response will be cheerleader esque. Like, you can do this. It'll throw in unusual, unexpected language that is overly supportive, over the top. I find that Gemini is good at creating titles for different articles. Claude has a reputation for being much more empathetic, as as you interact with Claude, you might feel a stronger connection, and it might have a little bit more of a human side to you, to the AI. And so that can be very helpful for client communication, particularly if clients are unhappy. It can be very helpful. Copy and paste an email in, say, how do I respond to this? That's a great example for Claude. And then ChatGPT, I find, is usually my go-to. I often go there first. I'm very comfortable with it. Within each of these tools, there's also a wide breadth of things you can do, and they're constantly evolving. So right now it's in January of 2025, which I can't believe we're here. You can now create projects in ChatGPT, and that's a brand new thing. And so as time progresses, these capabilities are becoming more helpful and have a wider breadth to them.
Agree. And then there was something fun I do with ChatGPT sometimes is, it's because once you start to feed information and it knows you.
Mhm.
So you can actually ask, go ChatGPT, what are my like top strengths? Tell me, right? From what you know, what are my top weaknesses, right? You can also, there's so much more like create a picture of my life based on what you know, right? So those are just fun things to do to not feel like so heavy with chat, like using AI. You can learn to use it in a fun way and still gain a lot out of that. Like you can do the same for your audience, right? Create a persona
Yes.
for my audience, right? You can, but you have to start with you, and then you can go to multiple ways, doing that. It's a
Yes.
really, really great. So you talked about Claude, Gemini, and ChatGPT. ChatGPT seems to be the most popular. I'm thinking from out of all because it's just I think there's a easy user interface overall
Yes.
compared to others. Would you say that?
Yes. I think it's um, smarter than Gemini, and therefore you get more out of it. And I think the training in the model, the way they've developed it, and with the capabilities it has, it is the easiest to learn.
Okay. So great. Now we talked about marketing. One of the other areas where I've seen people use AI a lot is customer support, right? That is a huge thing, especially for a business when not they're starting out, but when they get to a certain place where they need a chatbot or also just maybe answering some common questions and
Mhm.
all that. I think there's a great way to use it. But I don't know how relevant would that be for somebody starting out. What would you say about using ChatGPT as customer support tool?
I still think it's really helpful because even when you're, maybe particularly when you're just starting, you can um, put in your own website into ChatGPT and say, help me come up with an FAQ, a frequently asked questions section that people might have when they're coming to my website for the first time. Or you can do really cool things like once you have a persona, you can say, now we're going to role play. And ChatGPT, you're that persona, and you are coming to me with questions. Let's interact with each other. And I want you to rate my answers on clarity, consistency, and how and tone, essentially. And so I think it's really helpful for people who are just starting out in a lot of different ways. And
Yeah.
also, when you're just starting out, you might be uh, might find it more challenging to reply to some emails. So, copying and pasting them in and working through it and seeing what different responses might look like or feel like, I think is very helpful.
No, I never thought about it. I mean, yeah, I mean, as you're starting out, you don't even know half the times what complaints you're going to come up with, what objections people are going to go, what problems, what could go wrong,
Yes.
and helping it refine further and further your responses. And once you learn common questions, even if you put a FAQ, you learn more, and ChatGPT can continue to evolve with you as you go in that journey as well from the day one is really great.
Yeah.
A great suggestion on that, like how to use ChatGPT for customer support, especially difficult emails. Answering those, man, is hard, right? So,
Yes.
you can just go to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, help me create an answer which is not putting anybody down." I do that all the time, right?
Yes.
I want the answer which is very neutral, right? Just keeping to the point without making anybody feel bad. And ChatGPT has been great in coming up with those words which are hard. They this takes time to write. It's
A lot of
quicker.
time.
Another thing I do a lot for my business, right? Because I have multiple clients. We rate our what we did was we rate our post, right? We'll create a whole calendar and ask ChatGPT to, after content, like rate each post on
Yes.
scale and tell us what we can improve. It's great, like it works like magic. And we also did the year-end reporting, like we get the data from the social media platforms and say, help us create the insights. It's amazing. You can do like, tell me the top 5 posts from last 6 months, right? Top 10. And based on this, can you tell me my new content buckets, right?
Mhm.
So much you can do. It's the sky's the limit, I think, once you start using it.
It is. I think it's wherever you are, just start. And then with the idea of knowing where you want to go, that is the next step you take. It's also really easy to get completely distracted with all of the eye candy that is AI. Just a heads up. There's way more out there than you would ever need. Um, and
So
I
let's
think
talk
that's
about that. I think there is a very valid thing. You're going to go into AI hole, like a black hole,
yes.
where one thing leads to another. And before you know, you spend 2 hours, got nothing out of it, right? Because you got so distracted. So
Mhm.
what do you recommend to stay focused, right? To kind of get what we need from it. Not that I'm against playing, but how do you still get what you need from AI and with all those distractions which will happen?
I think this is actually one place where community is helpful when you're on some sort of guided tour through AI. Like, what are the bits that we need to talk about now as small business owners, and what are some tools that are beyond ChatGPT and the LLMs that might be really helpful to us and that we just don't even know about. And I I think having that conversation is really important. I also think you can use ChatGPT to have a conversation to help you focus on what are your goals and what is it that you need.
It is funny, like ask ChatGPT, I'm distracted by you. How do I stay focused? Basically,
Yes.
that's what you're doing. Like you just put me in a AI black hole, help me understand. But you have a community. Can you tell us about what you offer? In like what's the benefit of I really believe in community. I'm part of your community. What is the benefit of joining the community and learning AI with everyone?
There are multiple benefits. One benefit is I you talk about black holes of AI. It's kind of my job. So I've gone down many black holes of AI and I'm completely submerged in it, and I know much of it is not intended for small business owners. And some of that is on price tag. If it's $10,000 a month, that's not really in a lot of small business owners' price tags for this extra thing. But also, it's in capabilities. What a small business owner needs might not be sophisticated data mining, which takes out a whole bunch of different AI tools. So I think part of it is having a place where it's focused really on small business owners. I think that's a unique path. And then we are all skilled at different things, and we all have different perspectives coming into the same space. So when we have a conversation on a focused topic related to a small business owner in AI, just as I've shared things with you today that you hadn't thought of before, you've shared things with me that I haven't thought of before, right? So if we're focused on a topic like marketing, and you can laser in and focus much more specifically on many topics, each of us, as we interact in the conversation, will help each other broaden our horizon just a little bit more. And I think that's part of the value of connecting with people and um, learning together.
Yeah, so we'll put your link in. Anybody wants to check out your community link and they want to come. I think let's put a link together. Yeah, this is great. All of these are going to be great. So one of the things in life happens when something new comes up is going to take my job, right? It
Right.
has it has been going on like, oh, AI is here now, and marketing is no more needed, I know, and
Mm.
oh my God, this is what do you say to that fear of people, right? It's great for small business owners now because they can do everything on their own. right? And you did speak about it doesn't replace human, but let's talk more about like, especially for marketers who fear like AI will take their job. What do you have to say about that?
What more do I have to say about that? I think AI today is not good enough. It's just not good enough. Maybe in a decade it will be, but if you are using it and you are growing with it, it's not going to replace you. There's this common saying like AI is not going to take your job, but someone who is using AI will. And I think that is fundamentally true because it is such an unfair advantage. So people who are not adopting it and using it, they will be left behind. So this is a scenario where just don't fear it. See how it can help you. Um, because the skill set that you bring as a marketer is unique to someone who needs you. And there will be always people who need you. Um, I don't know if that's making sense, the way the energies come together.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is basically no matter what, right? Washing machines, cars, right? Machine doesn't work on its, you still have to push the button, right? Like if
Yes.
you get it, there's a way. And then if machines break down, now you have a job to fix it. So yes, before we were washing clothes on hand and around the river or whatever, right?
Yes.
Nothing broke down except the store, right? And we need
Yes.
soap. But now you have a whole new thing because machines are getting sophisticated. There's more sophistication maintenance needed, right? And you still have to like, so I think every time there's an innovation, more opportunities are created
Yes.
than not.
You know what?
That's what I'm
I
hearing.
I think a great way to think about this is back in the 80s and probably and 90s. There were lots of people who would fill out books, like write out bookkeepers who wrote out and added things with an adding machine and did all sorts of things. And then Excel was created. And Excel is a spreadsheet that most people have heard of and use in a business setting. Now, did Excel take away everyone's job? Did it make um, adding and bookkeeping obsolete? No, no. But it was this innovation that helped create a whole breadth of new things that you could do. And I think that's a helpful construct to think of because just like Excel and AI are very similar in that it's disrupting the way we did things, but it's opening the doors to many new things.
100%. And you're so right, right? Instead of working with 3 clients, you may be able to work with 6 clients just because you have efficiencies in your business. You have time to do it all. You have time to do it all in a way which is not exhausting you because of the AI. So
Yes.
it's a huge thing. What I'm hearing is embrace it, move with it, find your tribe, find your community, right? Learn it, play with it, do whatever you need to do, and I really believe, right, marketing is where, for me, because I know it's so stressful, besides all of it, you can do so much with it, right? Like my whole market research is done by, on Google and ChatGPT. First it was Google, but ChatGPT has made it a lot easier.
Mhm.
Content calendar planning, I mean, so easy. Give me 30 content, for Instagram, for LinkedIn, and it will define everything based on your platform. So
Yes.
if you were to really tell a small businesses owner, right, how, one of the biggest question I think we all have, clarity is always like, how do I know where to use AI? Okay. Or even within marketing, where to use AI? Like it's always that question, where do I put my energy in using, because it's still taking energy from you. So what would you recommend to people who are like, okay, how do I even decide where to use AI in my business?
You can do it a few different ways. What I have found success with is think about the tasks that you like to do the least. What what do you push off? Maybe it's creating an Instagram post. Maybe it's writing a newsletter. Whatever it is for you, start there because the energy that you will gain by releasing that burden on yourself and using AI to help you get to the answer faster will give you so much more energy for the things that matter. So that's one side of it. If you think of low hanging fruit, what is really irritating for you personally? Like, what are you just terrible at or you don't like to do? That's one side of it. By getting rid of that distraction almost, it opens the door for you to think about, where do you want your business to go? And then when you think of, okay, this is a goal that I have, whatever it is, what are 3 steps you need to take to get there? And then focus on one of those steps and use AI to help you take that first step.
Love it, love it, love it. So basically, what you're saying, yes, get rid of like the task which is taking your energy,
Yes.
but also use AI, right? To when you're really good at something, like do more of that for you, so that
Yes.
you can actually, is kind of thrive within that space. It's not always just doing what you hate, but also doing you love, more of that.
Yes, exactly. How do you make space and time for the things that you like to do more? And you might be able to use AI to have it become even more powerful for you in your strengths.
Yes. So I know, we are almost ending the conversation. Audience here, our goal was not to give you a specific, AI that's is vast, right? If we start to give, how to do a marketing strategy, we'll have to do another hour session and, things. So if you need any of that support, please do put it in the comments and we'll do another podcast on that specific topic. But this whole podcast was just helping you understand like why you should be using AI and where and how to decide on what you should be doing. And then at the end of the day, just like in life, you have to experiment, you have to figure it out, you have to try different things. Nobody can give you a template which will work for your business. Like it's not possible because none of us know your business as good as you know. So all of the frameworks are great to get started, but at the end of the day, you have to create your own way of working with AI. So do you have anything last thing to add, or do you have anything you can share with the audience on this new way of doing things, right? The AI wave, how to ride this AI wave with ease.
I think you just have to start, and you as just open it up and do anything. The very first conversation I had with ChatGPT was 5 recipes about the Mediterranean diet. It can be so helpful in personal life and in professional life. Just try, and the stakes are so low. There's no judgment, like I said. There's no negative to opening it up and even just clicking on one of the prompts that they give you naturally. Like that's the way to just take that first step. You just have to take it and then have your have your own inspiration and ideas blossom from that, and also talk about it. Have conversations with your other fellow business owners and ask them what they're doing and how they're doing it, and everything is evolving so fast. Like at first last year, people were coveting their prompts, like, oh, I have the perfect prompt for this and I don't want to share it. But everything is moving so fast. Just be open and say, this is what I'm doing and this is how I'm doing it. And by that openness, I think you'll be surprised with how other people are open with it as well.
Yeah, I think it's a great. Just get started. Just do it. Figure it out as you go along, and not be scared of it. Not like wrong or right. Just do it. And one of the things I would add is there's so much everybody's talking AI and giving you again all those 2,500 prompts, 250 prompts, 100 prompts, 50 prompts, right? It's good to have knowledge, but knowledge is power when you implement it. Knowledge alone itself is not power. So again, we come back to I'm totally supporting your statement of just do it.